What up, my freaks? Ruinous Insight here with part 56 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Archaon the Everchosen Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Ulthuan has been completely taken over by Chaos at last. I would think that if this were to actually happen, they'd probably detonate the vortex or something like that, and let's just say bad things, TM, would happen. But here we are, with Ulthuan destroyed, only Lustria and the lands of the dead essentially remain. We've got a little bit in the southern Chaos Wastes as well, but they're well underway to being destroyed. There's also the remnants of the Badlands and here around Skaven Blight, but we're pretty much unopposed on our way down there, with the possible exception of Athaloran. But let's face it, Archaon is going there, and nothing's really gonna stand against Archaon. Anyway, in terms of what we gotta do this particular episode, I do believe we have a couple of battles underway. Here we do have Thorgrim Grudgebearers. We're gonna see if we can't get Gulator to fight him. I don't know whether he'll run or he'll not, but the AI does have a tendency to be willing to fight Gulator, as it thinks that his army is weak due to the presence of all those Forsaken and stuff. So I'm reasonably sure that he'll be willing to fight, but we'll see. Let's do that, and then Gulator's hero, Hoarder to the Foul Feast. What are you missing? Because we could get you Pestilent Perseverance, or a Swoodscarred Veteran, or Aura of Chaos. You know, let's well, I was about to say, let's reduce enemy leadership, but does that really matter against dwarfs? Probably not so much. Let's just make it tankier in case you have to fight like a Thane or something like that. Anyway, to Thorgrim we shall go. Let's see what kind of battle he's got. It's looking to be another Nurgle heavy episode, as both... Oh, he will run. That's a little bit surprised. Oh, you crossed the river? I hate when they do that. Darn. Alright, well, there isn't too much that we can do about that, but not to worry, there are other fights. I guess we can fight that one next turn. Are we too far to capture Steingert? Yes, we are. Wait. If we pop you into another stance... Nah. Damn. I should have actually moved you a little bit closer to here. Oh, well. Ostrogoth might try to take it, but, well, whatever. Decent likelihood that then Thorgrim attempts to go after Chant here. I think we'll probably put you back in the moot, just so that you're not attacked and Chant doesn't come in as a reinforcement, but as a main stack, we'll then pop you into an camp stance in case Thorgrim attacks. But frankly, the mobility of the aerial army is probably going to be a bigger cause for problems for him. And hey, I just realized Chant is level 20. We could weaken his army considerably by doing this, but it's time. Ascension to Demonhood. Let's see what he gets. He's got, he's gonna lose Iron Skin. That's a bit of a shame. Let's see what he gains for his trouble. Dark Fury, Vigor Loss Reduction, irrelevant because he'll have Perfect Vigor probably soon and a little bit of charge bonus. Blue Fires of Chaos when in battle against a demon race. Never gonna happen. Partners in Chaos should be an easy acquisition, and lose a battle to survive, relatively unlikely. In terms of traits, this probably made him considerably weaker, and of course he lost 14 levels to that, but, well, you gotta ascend, and like we learned with Norvegicist, you got to fight to survive, right? Fires of Chaos for you, sir. And I guess Gehenna's Golden Hounds is the way to go here. What do you have here, by the way? Arcane Flight gives you the spell mastery as long as you're up in the air, and Flying Endless Flame buffs up the Flamers. Oh! It buffs up, but it only gives them ammunition. I was about to say that's a good reason to possibly level Jaeger up as well, as he has all the Flamers in the world. Huh, interesting. This buffs Flamers and Changebringers, but doesn't buff Exalted Flamers? Well, that's curious. Why would it be like that? Maybe by listing the Changebringers, it also counts the Exalted Flamers, or same thing for the regular Flamers. I do wish that this was more than just ammunition, because they've run out of ammunition, I think, in one battle, and it was against 4 full stacks of Broken Axe Orcs. So yeah, if they're going to run out of ammunition only in such situations, they're never going to have an ammunition problem, unfortunately. Which makes that relatively useless, let's say, trait. But anyway, it's not like Jaeger really needs it. We'll see how Chant can do with it. Let's also level up these guys in case the fight happens, because we're weaker now, and we've lost a lot of buffs for the units of the army. Horsemen of the Apocalypse would give a little bit of extra armor to the demons, but nothing crazy. Still might be worth our time, though. Yeah, fine. Horseman of the Apocalypse it is. And you know what? Let's get you Aura of Chaos as well. Oh, so he is an aerial unit after all and might get targeted. Lidrid Corfex, you are another caster. I think we're going to need Infernal Gateway and Fated Protector here. That one without a doubt. And I guess Magical Reserves and Earthing. Mostly because, well, all our guys have a tendency to miscast. Another Fated Protector, we're going to spam those. You're mostly here to cast Glittering Robe. I'm going to say Transmutation of Lead for the debuff over Final Transmutation in this particular situation. And let's get another Earthing on you, because we're constantly overcasting Glittering Robes, so it does make sense. And both of you are on discs, just to double check. Yes, indeed you are. Alright, that was a little bit of admin heavy. Let's hope that Archaon the Black doesn't run. I don't imagine that he will, though. I'd be surprised if he did. He has an elite army, yeah. There we go. We've got a pretty tough battle ahead. By the looks of it, those Caskets of Souls are going to be a particularly difficult issue for us. Hopefully Norvegicus can destroy them before they get into range, but they do outrange us, so yeah, there's that. Alrighty, exciting times, away we go. Alrighty, here we go, an appropriately dark battle as we are facing off against Archaon the Black and his vampiric units. Though we've refined our strategy with how to deal with these Tomb Kings, especially with their extremely fragile artillery pieces, and we're going to start the battle off with that good old-fashioned Chaos Spawn summoning. The Mortars will be the first to go, but of course Norvegicus is already heading towards the enemy army, and he's going to start knocking out those Caskets of Souls. They are, however, already engaged as we've summoned our Chaos Spawn in such a way that they are engaging not only the Mortars, but 2 out of the 3 enemy Caskets. Looks like the Crypt Horrors and the Hyro Titan have moved in to try to see these guys off. We have, however, popped our Curse of the Leper upgraded as well on our spawn, and hopefully that'll enable them to do quite a bit more damage over time, especially as more infantry arrive to deal with them. The Hyro Titan will hardly care about that sort of thing. We do have to keep these guys fighting and healed up though, so hopefully we can do it. They've been very helpful in our strategy with dealing with these guys so far, so yeah, gotta give them their due. Alright, and there we go, a Spirit Leech upgraded onto the Casket of Souls there. This one looks to be in pretty bad shape as well, surrounded as it is by Chaos Spawn, while Norvegicus ignores the entire enemy army and lands on the 3rd Casket. And the enemy can do little to nothing about this at the current time. Yeah, it could probably send Archaon, but he won't win against Norvegicus one-on-one. They're probably doing their best here, as trying to knock him down with the range units is probably going to be a little bit more effective anyway. Alright, and it looks like another Casket goes down. The Chaos Spawn damage, though they are give chase to the other, and Norvegicus has claimed the 3rd one, so only 1 left. The enemy is starting to make their way forward. Hex Wraiths together with some Hikaran horsemen trying to chase down the Soul Grinders, but fortunately they're speedy at relatively speedy, I should say, at 63. They're hardly the fastest Soul Grinders. I think the Slaneshi one was like 100 speed or something like that, which is pretty crazy. But anyway, we back off a little bit and then we get a nice couple of volleys into those hex rates. I have a healthy respect for the unit, as it is my favorite unit in the game. I got to destroy them quickly. Of course, they're not going to be crazy threatening to our soul grinders anyway. But we'll keep them nice and... ooh, it looks like they've got Invocation of the Heck on them as well. But we'll see. We've got the Rattling Guns firing upon them, and they will hopefully dish out enough damage with the magical damage of the Soul Grinders combined. Alright, and Norvegicus remains in the back line as well, still fighting, and we got plenty of enemy troops surrounding them now and being distracted as well. Just gotta keep popping. Oh, damn, Curse of Jaff from the Tomb Prince. They're gonna keep these guys locked down here as well, but I'm willing to bet that that Curse of the Leper has worked out fairly well for us, as both of these units have dealt over 10,000 damage at this point in time. Our doggos are fighting in the background. They've destroyed a unit of the Hekaran horsemen over on this side, and our other doggos are moving in to try to help out against those darn Ushabti with great bow. Archaon's in the middle of the enemy formation, but is pretty badly damaged as well. He has taken a volley from the Rattling Guns, and probably a few hits both from our exalted hero of Nurgle as well as our Soul Grinders, but as soon as that Necrosphinx arrived to be Archaon's bodyguard, we had to switch to the Necrosphinx, as it's probably a little bit more of a threat in melee. Though frankly, Archaon's model is big enough that we kind of have to attack both anyway. But that's just fine. They may have Invocation of the Heck, but we can probably out-heal them between all of our fancy Nurglish stuff and our unclean Zealot War Shrine of Nurgle. Over in the background, it looks like the doggos have arrived, and with them we can peel Norvegicus away to begin his duel against the enemy Hyro Titan. He's not even needed to fight Archaon, as Archaon's already very much in trouble here. Just gotta make sure to steal his hat after all is said and done. Alright, and the Hyro Titan has an absolutely massive HP pool, so it is going to take a while to work through all of that, but while he's being held back, the rest of his troops will follow, the surrounding troops, I suppose. More Rattlings gunning down the enemy Crypt Horrors, which are trying to aid the enemy elites in the blob of our Soul Grinders. Just gotta be careful with the Rattling Guns hurting our own units once again. And ooh, some ghouls trying to move in, but suffering shots from 3 types of range units. The Rattling Guns play Clock Catapults, and our Soul Grinders Nurgle working quite well at obliterating infantry units. Nice little sort of World War I army we've got going on here. Alright, and how's Archaon doing? Pretty bad, 430 HP now, and one more swing from the axe of our exalted hero of Nurgle, Glugmir, and Archaon will be brought down. And there we go, with Archaon's fall, the rest of his army begins to melt away. There was a White King running around in the background, but there's not much more than that. It looks like also the Hyro Titan is down to about 30% of his HP, so we can watch him get ripped apart, or it get ripped apart by Norvegicus. And hopefully it won't be the last thing on the field, as otherwise we won't be able to see the death animation. I feel like I see the death animation of the Hyro Titan so rarely because of its huge HP pool constantly making it the last unit on the field, and the fact that there's a tendency to just ignore it, generally speaking, until it is the last unit left, rather than waste all that damage. And there we go, down it drops beneath the feet of Norvegicus, who is back to full HP. And with that, the battle is ours. Close victory this time. He certainly took a little bit of damage, but by the looks of it, the healing kept us in good shape. Well done as always. Alrighty, very nice indeed. Ever since we evolved Norvegicus into a demon prince, it's really changed the dynamic of how his army functions because of the added speed as well as the flying capabilities, rather. He's more like an army of his own, a little secondary force that can go and annoy a decent portion of the enemy army. It's self-sustaining because he's got so many heals and spells, and when we have access to our summoning abilities, the enemy essentially has to divert like half of its forces to dealing with him, or if they don't, like this time, they'll just lose all of their artillery and a bunch of other units as well. So, it works out. 27k damage on him, 20 and 14k on the 2 units of rattling guns, who probably got the most damage, with the sole exception of one of our soul grinders, which got 15, but 20k still the best. Well done to the rattling guns. A worthy addition, I would say, to this force, even if they are fragile. Defeated Archaon gives us weapon strength on fighting the vampire counts. We don't care about that, but we do care about the perfect vigor and additional campaign range, so I won't complain about that. You, sir. I guess we can pop you into raiding stance. Move out this way. We have Galbaraz and Gronti Mingle to take, and I guess you have to follow along. Like so. Oh wow, this place really doesn't like us. That vampiric corruption may cause it to rebel, unless next turn we just trade it to, we could trade it to the exiles. Especially as they basically will have, let's see. If we give them Grand Teaming, yeah, we could give them this entire province. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of territory that we could be giving to our allies, like all of the Empire and stuff, but once again, a bit too lazy for that at this point in time. Anyway, Mr. Thorgrim ran away, but these guys are trapped in a settlement and thus cannot run away from Kolek. Let's level him up and let's send him into the fight. Now, what are you missing? You just have piles of monsters. I guess we just keep leveling you up to make you stronger. Could you on Holy Resilience as well if we wanted to. Not that this really gives us all that much in the way of being useful. I think we're not going to go through this line. Minus 12 melee defense for the entire army is pretty crazy. And yeah, and minus 12 melee attack. Yeah, it powers up Kolek significantly. I mean, we could get this. We could get Storm because it's only increased upkeep, but gives him extra HP, though even then, it's really not all that great. And it's only 10%. It should at least be 20% for 25% upkeep. But anyway, we have to go through to Colossal Strike first, and then we'll get to all that. It's not like anything has really threatened Kolek in quite a while, so hardly irrelevant anyway. Anyway, let's see. You have your Deadly Onslaught now. Let's get you that Aura of Chaos for the enemy leadership reduction. And let's get to you. Earthing, Magical Reserves, and gonna have to say Glittering Robe. That's the one we use most, and it's probably still the one that we're going to be using the most in this particular army. To Talanshla we shall go.
I will not.
Plenty of peasants to kill. It's close victory and low casualties. Really, they have 4 questing knights, 2 knights errant, 2 knights of the realm, tons of range units in their first stack, and 4 more knights errant, 2 Pegasus knights, and just like a full stack of range units. Maybe the AI is underestimating this, but I do think that this is a battle worth fighting, so fight it we shall. Alright, here we go. A couple of episodes ago, we had a pretty fun fight with Kolek going wild against a similar sort of defense by Marcus Wolfhart, and I feel like we can enjoy this one, or hope we can enjoy this one just as much. And on top of that, it is the exact same map that we fought Marcus Wolfhart on, so should be a pretty fun time. Anyway, Kolek moves on in, and it looks like he'll immediately get charged by some of those Pegasus Knights. Perhaps not the best place to attempt to apply themselves as well. Especially with all his buffs up, Kolek is both a hard target and a hard-hitting target as well. Looks like they've lost a decent amount of their number and will back off, leaving the poor enemy paladin to try to face off against the mountain god, though how long he'll be able to hold remains to be seen. And by he, I obviously don't mean Kolek. Anyway, our flanking units have arrived. Both the left and rightmost flank have already engaged with the enemy troops and are going to probably take some time to deal with the enemy questing knights and other elite knightly units that the Imperial forces lacked. So they have the mass that the Imperials don't in this particular situation. Our central units are going to take a little bit longer to get into the field, but that hardly matters as Kolek is taking their place for now. And there we go. Those Pegasus Knights that saw that Kolek was just a bad idea are now facing off against the Dragon Ogres, Armored Trolls, and the 2 Shaggoths on this flank, with a little bit of help from some Knights of the Realm. Nope, Knights Errant. Alright, just checking what we've got in here. One of the Shaggoths is not in the blob, though, and is just making mincemeat of the poor peasants that are away from it. Probably should have been going after the Knights instead, but hey, who's gonna tell the Shaggoth that it shouldn't be doing what it's doing? I don't envy whoever's job that is. Alright, and it looks like our Dragon Ogres are certainly working. Still gotta remember that the Dragon Ogres are anti-large, so the Knights may have mass, but they're also outclassed in this particular case. Pegasus Knights dying in droves, and the Knights Errant are hardly an issue for us. We are, however, going to be taking quite a bit of damage from the enemy range fire. Got to be careful about that. We have used one, I believe, use of our Exalted Hero of NURGLE'S Locus of Fecundity on that leftmost flank, as it was necessary. It looks like our central units have arrived as well, facing off against some questing knights with their armor piercing here, though funnily enough, the Dragon Ogres with 73 armor aren't all that crazily armored. And what do we have here? Chaos Trolls armor at 113 armor. Okay, yeah. Just had to compare the two a little bit. I do love the fact that all the anti-large we have from the Dragon Ogres is coming in real handy in this particular battle. It's also very different seeing them face off against knights as opposed to seeing them face off against enemy infantry, which we see, let's say, most of the time. As this army has never really fought Bretonnians. And thus hasn't really fought a faction that is just going to build tons and tons of cav. Anyway, Kolek is just trying to get through the enemy blobs this time using his mass. He doesn't really care about them, wants to charge and kill off enemy lords and heroes rather than fighting the chaff. Over on the rightmost flank, we have our Sorcerer, who has been flying around with Skykeeper and the other Chaos Feral Manticore, and just knocking out enemy ranged targets and heroes and other such things. The ranged targets, though, need to be stopped lest they continue focus firing our Dragon Ogre is going to drop a Searing Doom into Gehenna's Golden Hands, so sadly it looks like that will veer away to the wrong direction, but that's the risk you run when you drop a Vortex. Enemy reinforcements are arriving on the field as well, plenty more range units, because, you know, they clearly need more range units. But it's alright. By the time their relatively slow infantry ranks actually get into the settlement, most likely most of the enemy main forces will be destroyed. At least if this continues to proceed as it's been proceeding so far. Giant pile of knight corpses. Well done. Alright, Kolek got trapped again, looks like by a couple more knights and questing knights this time around, but he's going to drop his bombardment spell and they will continue dying around him. I do wonder whether his regular attacks, which does more damage and, well, which does more splash damage, his regular attacks or the lightning that comes down with his spell. Also, how is he doing so far? 153 kills and 44k damage roughly. Very, very respectable. Not as strong as Archaon, perhaps, whether it be in damage or in single target fighting, but still pretty darn strong. Damn, Kolek's at 112 speed. Not as fast as Sigvald, perhaps, but still pretty darn quick, eh? Oh, he's got Foe Seeker up and running. I was wondering. I think even with that amount of ridiculous speed, it'll still not look as silly as a Siggy running around. And looks like more questing knights will attempt to get into Kolek's way, but he needs to chase the enemy lord down. And oh, there's a Grail relic here. Okay, that does actually have to be focused. So he'll take the time to stop and destroy the Grail relic and however many knights that get in his way as well. The central blob continues to follow Kolek, and fortunately wherever Kolek is seems to be where the biggest concentration of enemy troops are, which works quite well for the Dragon Ogres. You can also see our Chaos Sorcerer and our two Manticores hovering overhead trying to find enemy units, and aha, the reinforcing enemy lord has moved on in, and the Manticores will hunt him down, and probably the mounted yeoman archers as well, as the Dragon Ogres I think are a little bit too slow to actually catch him. And oh, the enemy Prophetess does not have a mount. Oh well, that's not great. And down she goes. It looks like the Chaos Sorcerer got the final kill. I like how the Sorcerer is in the center with the two Manticores. I'm going to drop a few spells on the enemy units trying to surround the Manticores. Probably attempting to take revenge for the fall of their Prophetess, but it's hardly going to work out, especially as all these units lack magical damage. The Manticores, at least, have 84% physical resistance. Well, 75, but, you know, pretty darn good. Anyway, the balance of power shifts to about, I'd say, 90% in our favor. Just a little bit more enemies to work through. Foot Knights dying in droves just as much as their knightly masters. But it looks like the enemy has committed and lost most of their knights at this point, so it's the peasants that we have to break now. Alright, the foot squires will run on out of there, get a few more swings with your axe there, Exalted Heroes. Still a few range units firing away. And oh wow, there's a field trip all the way back there. Yeah, there's no way that ever gets off a shot. It'll probably rout long before the battle is over. More men-at-arms holding, bravely I might add. Having seen their entire night, all of the knightly cohorts that defended the place get ripped apart in this Dragon Ogre blender. Realistically, all those men-at-arms would most likely just rout without ever lifting their swords, I imagine. Anyway, I do believe the battle is just about done. I probably have to just give a quick charge to these units back here, but for now most of our other units are disengaged. And there we go, charge them on in. One of the issues with this map is that it has a lot of these like little walls and obstacles around, which is kind of an issue for the camera work, but oh well. Still getting plenty of great shots of, you know, peasants being obliterated. And though, alas, it looks like we won't be for too much longer as the balance of power shifts fully in our favor, and the battle is finally ours. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. I like the way that we've been splitting this army into three sort of distinct groups of Dragon Ogres. It's working quite well, generally speaking, rather than keeping them all in a self-healing Death Star, especially against enemies that are unlikely, or I'd say less likely, to bring some units down. Anyway, we're going to give chase as one of the armies was outside the enemy settlement, but off-screen. Alright, gotta hand it to the Bretonnians. Personally, I think they held better than the Imperials under Wolfheart did in the similar battle on the same map. Yeah, I don't know, a few episodes ago, whenever it was that we fought him. Probably at least in part due to the mass of the knights and just the sheer number of those peasant bowmen all over the place. As for how we did, it looks like with 36k damage and 406 kills, kills. Cormac Moongorger, the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, is the winner of that. 189 and 189 kills on both of the Chaos Feral Manticores, but the named Skykeeper gets 17k damage, and thus a teensy bit more. 64k on Kolek himself, and 51 on the Chaos Sorcerer. Many more kills, but less damage, because different types of units were being hunted. As for the regular Dragon Ogres, in terms of kills and by the looks of it damage, it was the Primordials living up to their name, though they did once again, at least in terms of kill counts, lose to the various Chaos Trolls, but they did win in terms of damage dealt. Though it does look like the Chaos Trolls did manage to be on par or better than most of the other Dragon Ogres. Still, a very nice fight. Kolek's been having a fun time, and he's not been losing anything, so he's doing good. Now, can we move and pass this? Yeah, looks like we can. Alright, so Arbol, I would like you to... Hey, Kolek, I said don't move. Arbol, I would like you to take Tlanchla. I guess we can chase down Antoine and then move to Tlachtlan. Occupy, and what do we have here? Wood. Oh, right, this is the province with 2 wood territories in 1 settlement. Really should give this to Slaanesh, but, well, Azazel's nearby. Antoine, you can die. This better not kill off one of our Dragon Ogres. And no, it didn't. Alright. Go for kill captives. Does Kolek have kill captives in decent numbers? 11. Not too bad. And then Kolek, you're heading to Tlachtlan next, while Azazel can go to Glugmir. Alright. Looking good. Anybody else need to move this turn is the question. Kuchar, yes, you do. And are you the only one? We don't have time for much more than one, I think. More Carvand. Oh, right, you're the guy that's with Kuchar. That's fine. All right, Kuchar. Looks like that's you, sir. You're gonna go into... still stay in summoning stance if there are, you know, platforms to destroy. Once again, I'm fine with doing that, even in a Khornate army. Alright, Pyrrhic Victory, eh? Ooh. I wonder if we can... I mean, we can get them to sally out. I think it would give us a better battle than what we're dealing with here. Seems like the way to do it. And you can do this, you're going to suffer a little bit of attrition, but we don't really care about our little elven allies, and then you can move in and help out. Though with you there, I hesitate to guess as to whether these guys would actually sally out. We'll see. We'll see. You can move on in. Then you can stay in that stance, but we will give you the Chaos Vanguard to buff up all of these basic Khornate troops. You are the Khornate follower and the corrupted Khorn Elves of Adrielen, though that army is gone in a bit. But hey, at least we actually borrowed an army. We haven't really been doing that throughout the campaign. But it's not like they've got too many useful ones. Anyway, Kuchar, stay right there. I think the field battle is the way to go, and hey, who knows? Maybe Oxyodal will come on by as well. Let's see. No siege equipment on assigned skill points. Path to glory, Lord not moved. And end the turn. Alright, what is this? It is Skarbrand attacking... Akron. We've already fought this battle. In fact, we fought a stronger version of this battle. On the one hand, we get to see Khornate troops fight, but we have our own Khornate armies, which makes me, let's say, not as interested. This will kill off the spawn of Khorne, but frankly, that's probably screwing over the auto-resolve of our allies anyway, so just auto-resolve it. Whatever. Sorry, Scarby, no spawn of Khorne for you. Kill those captives, and will Skarbrand cap it? Did he capture it, or did he let somebody else capture? What happened there? Wait. I can't tell where it is. Somewhere over here. Ah, damn it, I was looking for it. And Thorak Ironbrow will attack a little defensive garrison here. We don't really care about that. And you're just gonna sit outside. Okay, sir. This may be a bad idea for you, as we do have a little army sort of spawned to deal with you in a bit. Alright, what do we have here? Freebooter for Bellicor, Master Mason, ally mobilizes, ally occupies. Oh, it was exiles. Nope, they raised it. They raised the tier 4, rather than occupy. What is wrong with you, Skarbrand? Oh, Skarbrand, why? Why you do this? Alright, we'll just occupy it and trade it to him. Village, you're headed down to Granty Mingle then. We'll use Ludred to take Ekron because we'll send Ludred to join forces with a Narath and swap some units. Why wouldn't you take this free territory at a high tier that we did all the work for you at? Oh, it's just AI. It's not good. It's not good at smart making. Now, what was I thinking about in terms of battles? What do we have here? Thorgrim has moved back. Gulator, you can no longer reach him, can ya? Well, that's disappointing. Chant. You can't reach him either, eh? Alright, well, I guess we'll have to allow that to happen next time around, I guess. If I don't find another immediate battle, I'll probably call this episode. This is not worth our time. Galbaraz, do you have an army? You do? A moment. What's in Galbaraz? The tier 4 with some decent stuff. Ooh, tons of Ushab. Ushab T plus this army. I'd say that looks worth a fight to me. What about you guys? Well, I can't hear you, but I'm gonna assume you're screaming, yes, please, harder, Ruinous, at the keyboard. Or maybe at your keyboard, who knows? Monitor. Spirit Leech does get spammed by you a lot. Ooh, but so does Curse of the Leper. Man, there's a lot of good spells in here. Though it is unfortunate that the Demon Princes of Nurgle lose Stream of Corruption. In fact, they lose all damaging Nurglite spells, which feels a bit odd, doesn't it? We lose both Blight Boil and Stream of Corruption in this manner, and I'd really rather have Blight Boil than Purple Sun of Zoraeus, as I just don't like the spell. Or even Fate of Biuna is preferable to the Purple Sun, in my opinion. Soulblight, Curse, and Spirit Leech and Miasma are all great spells, don't get me wrong. But it would be nice to have a multiple unit damager. But anyway, go for King Berecht. Yeah, wipe them out. You're getting pretty adept at that, good sir. And this one we're gonna fight because we got 5 units of elite crypt horrors, as in high veterancy crypt horrors, 4 units of Ushabti with great bow, Tomb Scorpion, some artillery pieces. Yeah, worth a fight. Worth a fight. Go. Alright, looks like Norvegicus wants to be silent today. Alright, that's fine, that's fine. Here we go, a Chokepoint battle. Really was not expecting this one, but we are certainly going to take advantage, especially with the sheer number of enemy troops. So this will make it easier for the pretty much massed bombardment that is the signature of this army to work quite nicely for us. However, the enemy army is, well, the majority of the enemy army is coming in as a reinforcement, and thus a Screaming Skullcat, no, a Casket of Souls, as well as an enemy lord are outside. We're gonna keep dropping those Spirit Leeches on the enemy lord, and they're below half HP before Norvegicus even takes his first swing. Alrighty, and this lord is gonna be going down real quick at this rate. Damn, 700 damage from that hit by the looks of it from Norvegicus. And down the enemy drops. It looks like the Spirit Leech killed him, I guess. Ooh, nice stagger and 10% damage onto our Soul Grinder there. Good job to the Casket of Souls, but at least this casket won't be firing too much longer. Now that the enemy lord is done, Norvegicus will move towards it, drop Spirit Leeches, and then whack away. To bring it down real quick, these things are pretty darn fragile after all, with only 4.2k HP. Alright, looks like 2 more hits will bring it down, but the enemy main forces arrived on the field, and there's a lot of them, about 2 full stacks worth, and plenty of elites, a bunch of Ushabti with great bow, and monstrous units as well. There is another Screaming Skull Catapult, or a Screaming Skull Catapult, and a Casket of Souls to contend with as well. But I think we've learned at this point that Norvegicus just doesn't care about any of that, so he'll go directly for them, ignoring the massive force arrayed around him. And there we go, gonna drop down on that casket immediately. Looks like some bats will attempt to surround Norvegicus, but I don't think bats are gonna stop him. We are going to back our soul grinders off. They've done a little bit of bombardment damage to the enemy army, but they still have to make their way through the choke point. So we're going to position ourselves to take advantage of that. And as soon as Norvegicus does just a teensy bit more damage, he'll be able to summon some of those chaos spawn on top of himself as well. Help out with this matter a little bit, and then start working with those Curse of the Leper spells, the damage reflection. Alright, it looks like some enemy horses attempted, or Nehekarn horsemen attempted to charge towards our soul grinders, but were forced to essentially stop in their place by combined fire. We're going to countercharge them a little bit with one of our soul grinders. But it's not like these things are a threat. It's mostly just to prevent them from distracting more than one of our soul grinders, as we have a lot of enemy forces here to bombard. Finally, we've gotten that chaos spawn on the field, and they're starting to work their way through. Norvegicus is distracting and destroying one of the units of Ushabti with great bow. But there are 1, 2, 3 more of them right over here, and possibly another one somewhere in the dark there. We are saving our doggos over on the rightmost flank on this side of the choke point, specifically to run around and hit all those Ushabti once the main enemy force peels away. It looks like the Chaos Spawn are starting to take damage, Curse of the Leper or not, but they have already dealt 10,000 damage, which is pretty good for a random little summon, and we're going to help him out with some Forsaken. Looks like that Screaming Skull Catapult did not die off, though, so Norvegicus is going to have to move away and chase it down. The enemy are starting to move into range of our Plague Claw catapults now. And the enemy army is about to start taking an absolutely massive amount of damage from all of the arcing artillery. There we go, right into the middle of all those massed infantry blobs. Gotta love fighting the undead, whether it be the Vampire Counts or the Vampire Coast or the Tomb Kings, just because they're too slow to dodge all of this artillery. And it looks like a Tomb Scorpion, an Egyptian Dreadnought facing off against the Gulugmir, our Exalted Hero, but he should be able to hold them back for quite a bit. Looks like Norvegicus has finally dealt with, or finished dealing with, the enemy Screaming Skull Catapults, or at least nearly so. And we'll be moving on elsewhere. We have managed to heal up the Chaos Spawn a teensy bit, and both the Spawn and the... There's a Tomb Scorpion in here as well, wow. And the Forsaken are still fighting. I just want to point out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units are being distracted by these 2 summons, and these 2 summons are doing quite a lot of damage. 18k damage on this one, and 13k damage on this one as well, and they're still fighting. They can still be healed more, and we can still drop Curse of the Lepers on them. Enemy Lord tries to move through and goes towards one of our Soul Grinders, only to get targeted by all of our, well, both I guess, of our rattling guns, and watch that HP drop. He was full HP just a few seconds ago, and well, now, not so much. We're in slow motion as well. Didn't want to miss the death of the enemy Lord there. Alright, Soul Grind, you guys are good, but you don't get credit for killing off the Cambrian War Sphinx there. Pretty cool final blow from it though, knocking the Soul Grinder back, even as it itself gets destroyed. Huh. 43 HP, come on now. You're not all missing, are you? There we go. Alrighty. Well done to the Ratlings, and they've got more things to fire on out here, I'm sure, as a pile of Crypt Horrors are making their way into the fray. 3 here, another one here. And we'll see how many of them we can gun down before they get too close to the Soul Grinders here. Though, if we get the angles right, we should still be able to fire upon them, regardless. It is a little bit annoying that the Soul Grinders will be distracted by this, but at least 3 of them, it's a crossfire. The other Soul Grinders are still firing upon the enemy army, who has just suffered so much to the bombardment. Balance power is almost even now, and these guys are still fighting. Let's see, up to 22k damage. Very, very impressive. Norvegicus has arrived and is attacking the Ushabti with great bow now, getting a little bit of our own bombardment into some of those Ushabti just to herald the arrival of the Hounds of Decay, who, as we've seen many a time already, have no problem ripping Ushabti with great bow apart, and thus Norvegicus can move away and kill off other single entities, rather than having to distract the enemy range units. Alright, well done. Okay, well, he'll distract this enemy range unit for a little bit, but that one's nearly dead. Anyway, Crypt Horrors are still fighting. There's a Tomb Prince in the middle of the fray as well, and it looks like the other Crypt Horrors have forced another of our Soul Grinders into the melee. But that's fine. I feel like we destroyed around half of the enemy army as they approached the choke point, and frankly a lot of their infantry never even reached here. It's mostly their monstrous infantry, and, well, monsters that did. Keep on firing Rattling guns, I think. Ooh, yeah, 24k damage. I've been doing great this battle. I mean, if you put a bunch of Rattling guns in a choke point, you're gonna get good results. And there we go, try not to kill off our own Soul Grinders, but that's a lot of warped stone bullets right to the back of those Crypt Horrors, which melt away from that one volley. Very, very nice. Norvegicus has moved in and immediately done like 30% of the HP damage to that Tomb Prince, knocking him out of the fray, and turning his back on him, just to add insult to injury. Alright, very much a dark map, but I guess this is, once again, Archaon's forces we are fighting against, so it does make sense. The poor Tomb Prince, rather than joining back into the melee, and decided to try to run, I guess, towards our Rattling guns, only to suffer the same fate as his king and get gunned down by rats. And I do believe the battle is pretty much ours. I can see pretty much all the enemy units crumbling, shattering, etc. Just time to run out of the clock and not suffer any more unnecessary damage. How are we doing back here? Looks like the Forsaken ran off the field, but the Chaos Spawn did survive, getting 33,000 damage, closing in on 34, and 173 kills. Well, what a great summon. And the Doggos also did manage to distract quite a bit of enemy units. Looks like this Tomb Scorpion that was previously fighting the Forsaken and Chaos Spawn did decide to peel away and try to protect the Ushabti with great bow. Although by the looks of it, it didn't really manage to achieve it. And down it goes, and down goes the rest of the enemy army. Alright, yeah, there's a couple Tomb Guard under the blob there, but let's say we've seen plenty of them die, and yet another heroic victory for Norvegicus. Very, very nice once again, Norvegicus, and damn, I'm not sure whether... Well, you know what? We should probably give the MVP to Norvegicus, but sort of a provisional MVP, or at least an asterisk, for the summoned Chaos Spawn. They did so much work. Once again, it's a fantastic combination. As we summon the Chaos Spawn right in the middle of the enemy formation, they're unbreakable. They keep healing with every spell that Norvegicus casts due to Children of Nurgle, and then we repeatedly pop the Curse of the Leper on them. The enemy has a tendency to surround them because we pop them around the enemy artillery, thus causing massive massive amounts of casualties for barely any investment whatsoever. It works quite nicely. 36 kills on an unnamed soul grinder, but you look like you... 36k damage. You look like you got the MVP in sheer damage numbers, and Norvegicus at 35k. Very, very close. Also, looks like... Wait, we got 25 and 29k. Once again, the Rattling Gun's doing a great job, ripping apart some Lords, some Ushabti, and a decent amount of those Crypt Horrors as well. Well done, everybody. Kill those captives. And we may as well take Galbarez. I think we probably can't Oh, you can't even reach it, can you? Okay, well, this guy can't reach it. That means we definitely have to go there. And also, Path to Glory. Man, lose a battle and survive is such an irritating... it's such an irritating thing to have to do. Well, whatever, what can you do? Anyway, Galbarez is now ours, or our allies, however you want to look at it. And yeah, this campaign has truly, truly been blessed by Nurgle. Our Nurgle armies have been doing absolutely fantastic, haven't they? Anyway, with that, I am going to call this episode here. We have gone way, way over time for a Shadow Channel episode, but hey, hopefully you guys are still enjoying this campaign. I'm certainly going to be looking at this one as a as sort of a, I don't know how to call it. I gotta judge how much or how often we do these long form campaigns rather than the sort of 30-ish episode campaigns, but the super long campaigns, like I used to do. I mean, I used to be happy going into 100 episodes, and, well, it depends how long it takes to conquer the world, doesn't it? But anyway, stay tuned for more chaos. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.